Hi you guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is so good to be tuning in, and this week we're going to be talking about how we can combat low mood and depression. Originally I was going to make it more about quarantine, isolation, and how all of us are kind of feeling this low, horrible mood that we cannot seem to get out of. But I thought, it's more important to me that people have this advice in the long term, and I want to make sure you guys have access to it all the time. So there are a few things in here that are very quarantine specific, but there's a lot of stuff in here as well, such as advice that I might give out that you might need to adapt during quarantine but will fit perfectly for you in your everyday life. Now, I've done videos in the past that help to battle mental health issues such as depression and anxiety, but I think for me I've definitely focused on anxiety, probably because I can be quite an excitable person, and that means when I'm going through a really hard time I end up kind of having this heightened sense as opposed to this really low mood. But there have definitely been stints where I've gone through a depression state, a low state of mood, whatever you want to call it, where I just couldn't bring myself to do anything, go anywhere, or feel joy. I felt very flat. I think a lot of people see depression as having low mood. I think for me it was kind of a numbness, or maybe even just a flat line of mood. There was no up and no down. I would receive good news and not feel much, and I'd receive bad news and not feel much. And it was just kind of this numbness to everything that was going on in my life. And I knew it wasn't normal, but it took such a long time for me to figure that out. So today we're going to be talking about things that can lift that mood and also help with things like depression, anxiety, and anything that you guys are struggling with at the moment. I think also, just because I'm going to be releasing this during quarantine, you do have to think that your mood is lower than normal for a good reason. It's not your fault and you are not alone. So without further ado, let's jump on straight into this video. So I think one of the common misconceptions that can come with low mood and depression is that you want to keep yourself busy. Now, this is true to an extent, but if you don't take time to look after yourself, look inwards and see what's going on in there, you're not going to make any progress. So the first thing I want to talk about is not biting off more than you can chew. And by this, I mean I want you to reduce your stress and I want you to live a simple-based lifestyle. So normally, if you were going into work every single day, you might be the kind of person who raises their hand for that project when everyone else goes quiet and takes a step back. Or you might have recently made a resolution before everything went down that you were going to take on more responsibility at work because you're really hoping for a promotion. Now, these are really good aims to have, and it's fantastic that you've taken this step forward. However, if you take too much on, it's just going to drag you down, because normally these projects are long term, and if they're long term, they're not going to give you small and frequent rewards. And if they're not giving you small and frequent rewards, then you're going to kind of feel like you're almost failing, even though the deadline's not for months. But unfortunately, the mind of someone in a low mood is not always a logical mind. So a really good way to fix this is small, achievable tasks. So things that you know that you can get done, but make sure to not make that list too long. Now, I always see this funny card in the shop and it says, I read in a book that it's important to keep your to-do list to 3 items. On this particular greeting card, it says, solve world hunger, raise £1 million for charity, be at inner peace with myself. They aren't small achievable things. They are lifetime goals and things that not everyone will achieve in their life. The reason that I bring this up is because it's not just about the amount of things you have on your to-do list, it's about the size and the time commitment that they're gonna require. Your depressed mind needs small and frequent happy things to celebrate in order to slowly climb yourself out of that low mood. Now for me, this is quite easy because I've been doing it for so long, but my to-do lists used to be ridiculous. I'm talking finish my dissertation, film 3 videos, cook dinner, tidy the house, redecorate my room, and apply for 12 jobs in the next 2 weeks. That's just bonkers. That's not achievable in any way, shape or form. And not only is it not going to give you small and positive reassurances that you're doing great, it's also going to make you feel like you're failing because you can't tick off those things off your list because you've literally made a list for somebody who has superpowers. So all I would say here is to put yourself first, make sure you've got everything you need set in stone, make sure that you're happy with the way your home is, the way your life is, and prioritize things. If you have stuff you need to get done, maybe don't put your hand up for that job at work. The promotion will wait a couple of months and there is no point just sitting in a slump, making yourself feel terrible. Give yourself easily achievable goals. And hopefully with every single thing that you tick off that to-do list, you're going to feel better and better. The second thing I want you guys to do is do things that you know normally make you feel good, even if right now they seem like the last thing on earth you want to touch. So for me, I really enjoy things like going for a walk, but I can never really find the motivation to go out the house and do it. So what I really want you to do is, if you're in a low mood right now, think about something that would normally bring you joy. You have associated that action with feeling good because every time you've done it in the past, it's brought you joy. So what you need to do right now is get over the barrier, the hurdle, the brick wall that is stood in your way called depression. Now, she is a mean mistress, and I know that that is not an easy thing to get over. If you can just push yourself to do this, your life is going to improve drastically very quickly. Not to mention, if the thing you enjoy doing is active, you're also going to release endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, all those happy hormones that are going to help you raise that mood and feel so much better. The third thing I want you guys to do is to get out of the house. 4 walls that you're staring at all day is not going to do any good for this guy up here. So get out of the house. I know that we're currently in an epidemic, but get out the house. Go sit in the garden, just be around nature and walk. Something that's gonna get you out of seeing the same environment over and over again. Pull those blinds up, open those curtains. Do not be living in a dark, drab house. This is not going to help, and if you can't see daylight, then your mind's just gonna keep going downhill. Now, the fourth thing that I want you guys to do is to give yourself purpose. This links in with the reduced stress point that I made earlier, and it's definitely a balance. It's something you need to think about long and hard before you put into place. Now, it's very easy to hear the words reduce stress in your life, get yourself a hot water bottle, and go to bed with a cup of tea and not get up for 3 days. But that's not really gonna help either. So it's about a work-life balance. So what we wanna do is reduce your stress at work so that you're still relatively enjoying it and it's not bringing you so far down that you can't enjoy the rest of your day. And you also wanna be relaxing and doing something that gives you purpose outside of work. So one of the things that's giving me purpose outside of work right now is writing my dissertation. So I gave myself a different purpose. My purpose was to cook healthy meals and to walk 10,000 steps a day for the next week. It's a short-term and achievable goal. It's good for me. It's gonna get me out the house and it's gonna give me purpose. If I don't set that alarm and make sure that I'm gonna be getting up and moving, I'm not gonna achieve that step goal. And the biggest thing that I need you guys to avoid here is oversleeping. Now, I love sleep, and when I'm in a really low mood or depressed or whatever you wanna call it, sleep is, I wouldn't call it my best friend, but it's something that takes place for more than 12 hours of the day. And not only that, when I get up, I don't feel refreshed. I feel low energy. I don't feel like I have the power to do anything. Like writing a dissertation, no way. Going for a walk, what? No. I'm just gonna sit here, and if I find the energy to go to the kitchen, I'm gonna grab the most unhealthy, salty or sweet thing I can find. And then I'm gonna beat myself up later for eating that thing and gaining more weight because I'm not going anywhere, doing anything, and all I'm doing is emotionally eating. And that is a little insight look into what depression and low mood looks like. If you oversleep, there are negative connotations. And when you're depressed and in a low mood, it can sometimes be all you wanna do and all you feel capable of doing. But oversleeping can lead to things like increased inflammatory markers, increased blood pressure, increased risk of diabetes, obesity, heart disease, increased pain, and most of all, increased depression. So we don't want to be oversleeping. I do think it's really important that you get enough sleep, and normally when you're in a low mood, you need more than 8 hours. You might need 12, maybe even 13 hours of sleep. But if you're not going to bed until 1 a.m., I don't want you sleeping till 2 p.m. You need to find yourself in bed at 10 o'clock trying to go to sleep so that you can sleep through until 10 a.m. and get up and do something. Because if you don't force yourself out of that bed, you know damn well that you just won't. And if you do get out of bed, you'll go as far as the sofa, put some Netflix on, sit down and not move until it's time to go back up the stairs to bed. My next tip for you guys is to go for exercise. Now, I know that half the people watching this either just turned off the video or vomited, so I will just talk about this very briefly. We all know exercise is good for us. We know this. It's not news. But a lot of us hate doing it, especially cardio. I'm not asking you to do cardio. I'm asking you to put on a pair of shoes that are comfortable, get out the house and walk for 20 minutes. 10 minutes in one direction, 10 minutes back. That's it. You can put on your favorite music. You can even watch Netflix on your phone if you physically can't be away from a screen. But just get moving, because when that heart rate gets up and you stop sitting still for so long, you're gonna release endorphins, you're gonna release serotonin, you're gonna release dopamine, all of these good things that are gonna pick you up out of this bad mood. So That's all I have to say on exercise. I get it, it sucks, start slow, 20 minutes a day. That's all I'm asking, and I promise you, you'll feel better. The next thing I think is a really good thing to do is a gratitude journal. Negative thoughts are not an easy thing to fight off, and so instead of trying to fight them off, replace them with positive thoughts. So for example, if I was in a really low mood and I could only think of really simple things that I was grateful for, I might write down things like, both of my parents are still alive and love me. I have friends who are always there for me. I haven't graduated yet, but I'm in my 3rd year of a really tough course, and I'm grateful for myself for getting me there. So just figure out what's individual to you, what are you grateful for, and replace those negative thoughts with positive thoughts. The next point I want to make is nature. I have spoken about this quite a few times, but scientific journals have literally proven that being in nature for 1 hour, no music, no technology, can reduce stress by up to 80%. So what I want you to do is find a bench, sit down, turn your phone off, not just on silent or do not disturb. Just shut off those voices. This is you time. This is about you. And then I want you to make sure you haven't got any music playing and just listen to the wind in the trees. Even if it's raining, I love the rain. I'll sit in the rain happily and just relax. It can be at any time of day. Obviously go somewhere safe, but just go somewhere where you can be at one with what we actually came from, because we did not come from buildings. We did not come from mobile phones and tablets and screens. We came from nature. So we need to go back to where we came from in order for everything to reset. And the scientific information behind this, I'm literally thinking about making an entire video about it because it's astounding. The second to last thing I want to talk to you guys about is getting yourself a routine. We kind of have touched on this in a few of my other points, but by this, I don't mean have every single hour of your day planned out, because chances are you won't stick to it, then you'll feel like you failed, and then you're going to get into an even lower mood. But what you can do is get out of bed at the same time every day. Not only is that going to help you get out of bed, it's going to help you to stop oversleeping, and it'll help you get back to sleep that night because you'll have not overslept. Another thing you could do is you eat lunch at 1 p.m. every day. You eat dinner at 7 p.m. every day. Do yoga at 5 p.m. every day. Whatever fits what you want to do, whatever you want to achieve every day, keep it small, keep it simple, and get yourself into that routine. Because I know that it's hard to form and habits are not easy to form. That video will tell you so that I released back in January. They are not easy to form. They're very easy to break. But the amazing thing about habits and routine is that once you start a routine, your body starts to learn it subconsciously. So eventually you will start waking up just before that alarm goes off. You will, without thinking, go put your yoga stuff on 10 minutes before you're due to do yoga. At the beginning, you might need to set reminders to keep yourself going, but do it. And I promise you, it will make a massive difference. Finally, my point is to meditate. I talked about this, I think, in 10 of the 17 videos that I've released. I'm gonna keep it short, but if you do want more information on meditation, you can jump on over to my yoga tutorial or my Why Yoga Is So Good video. When I first started meditating, I used an app called Headspace. I'm not getting paid to mention them or anything, it's just that I had no idea how to meditate. And so this app was something that really helped me. So what I would say to you is download the Headspace app. The icon is a white background with a massive orange dot. You can pay for subscription, but all I did was do the 10 basic sessions, which are completely free. And once I'd done that, I knew how to guide myself through just 10 minutes of reflective headspace, and that changed my life. So I personally just think meditation is such an amazing thing because not only does it give you space, sometimes because there's not other things interfering with your head, the same with being with nature, is that you can actually identify what it is that's gotten you down. Don't get me wrong, sometimes there is no reason. Sometimes you're just down because you're down, and that's fine. But every now and then there'll be a reason, and you didn't know it was there until you sit down and take the time to listen to yourself. If your friend was down, you'd ask them what was wrong. You need to do the exact same thing for yourself. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with me on this video. I hope you guys like it. I hope it helped. Some of the tips might have seemed a bit out there, but these are just things that I use when I'm in a low mood, and I promise you they help me without fail every time. I know it's not easy. I know it's a battle, and I know it's a struggle, but if you can bring yourself to do some of these tips, your day will improve, and I promise you that. If you ever need to talk to me, you can jump on over to Scribbles by Alicia on Instagram. Also make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next week. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Bye. can't move. I can't talk. Also, that's a lie. We don't do that breathing technique in the hospitals. Ow, 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 ow. I get the worst pins and needles. Ow. Megan! Ow! Ugh! My pins and needles, I can't move. I can't move.
I'm dying.
It's still filming.